guys. All right, I've got Mario with us this morning, guys. Go ahead, Mario. What were you about to say?
It's like, what do they do to you when you can't afford to live in the pod and eat the bugs? Like, what,
Yeah,
you get turned into
buying the pod.
Is that your? Am I running in the streets with Charlton Heston trying to avoid the human trash compactor truck that sends me to the Soylent Green plant? Is that what happens?
God, the statistics, the numbers that we're about to talk about this morning. We're talking about living in the pods and eating the bugs this morning, guys. And bottom line up front, I paid
Talk
less.
About living in the pod in Atlanta.
I paid less for my 8-acre hobby farm with a 5-bedroom house in God's glorious deep country away from all the noise than these guys are charging for the pod, right? My 2,500 square foot 5-bedroom house on 8 acres was less than the starting price of one of these 400 square foot cracker boxes on a postage stamp, which, by the way, you don't even own. Right? These people, this is like, hey, Mario, I sure am glad you're. I sure am glad you're here with us this morning, because we're going to talk about white people buying land in Hawaii in a minute too. Because
you're an idiot.
I rented in Hawaii because I knew something.
So did I.
And I wish I thought you bought a house in Hawaii.
Fuck no. We rented that shit.
Oh. Okay. You are smarter than you look.
No. I mean, we did end up buying a house in Maryland, so we're not that smart. So we did, but it was like given the circumstances of the duty stations I was at in my career, there was nowhere to buy. Like I couldn't even get a gun for like the first 8 years. You know what I mean? Or pretty much my entire time in the Army, I couldn't even buy a gun, just given the fucking states I was living in. Yeah. So
I have to respond to Cameron's comment here. He says, "Cracker box, that's racist, sir." No, it's not, because it's mostly black guys that are buying these cracker boxes. So there. Let's hear it from the man himself. Let's hear the story.
I've met a few of my neighbors briefly.
Owning a home was Edison Smith's dream, but with the median home price in Metro Atlanta topping $400,000, the graphic designer wasn't sure he'd ever afford it until
the median home price in Metro Atlanta topping $400,000. Here's Zillow, and I've got this filtered. We're looking at Atlanta, right? There's Brookhaven up there, Riverdale down there. And the area we're talking about is over here. Where are we? Okay, Fairburn. There's Union City. So here's a bunch of houses in the Union City area that are under $200,000. Okay, so it's not outside the realm. But when you take a look at the houses that are in that price range in this area, okay, that's not even a house. That's just a lot. My bad. That one doesn't look too shabby. That's on the outskirts of Union City. Okay, this is one where they just remodeled it. So that's not too bad. Now that says recent $40,000 price cut.
That's a town.
Yeah, $200,000, 2,000 square foot, right? Oh, but you got a $65 a month HOA. That's something else that we can talk about a little bit. But just for a little bit of perspective, there are homes in this same area for a much more reasonable. It's a lot more house for your money.
Until he found Union Park Cottages.
And when I saw it, I was like, wow, this is perfectly fitting for my style. Being a single person that is coming in and wanting to just start off with home ownership, I could start small and then eventually just kind of branch out.
Edison bought one of the
That's where he said home ownership.
He did home ownership. That's right.
Homes in this new Union City community for just over $200,000. He says it's affordable, modern, and has enough space.
For me, it's just realizing taking the essentials and maybe just adding some aesthetic pieces is all you need.
This is a look inside one of those homes. You can see there's space for a kitchen. This is the living area here.
But there's not space to take a step straight forward. Watch.
And taking the essentials and maybe just adding some aesthetic pieces is all you need.
This is a look inside one of those homes. You can see there's space for a kitchen. This is the living area here. There are also 2 bedrooms and a shared bathroom, all under 750 square feet. And these types of homes are still in high demand.
And our waiting list.
They're in high demand. They're in high demand.
Yeah.
Okay. I've talked about.
Get it.
I've talked before about the Big Brother thing and how what 1984 got wrong, right? It wasn't a massive, scary, terrifying, tyrannical government that came and forced Big Brother to put cameras in our faces and always a monitor on us. No, we all, the whole damn world, got together and we went and stood in line and bought Big Brother. And now they figured that shit out. They intend for us to buy the pods voluntarily. Yep. And guys, the numbers right now say that we're going to do it. I mean, I'm not going to do it. I've got acreage and a tractor to deal with the question of whether or not I'm going to do something I don't want to do. But sure enough,
the prices. Look, so someone like me, all right, divorced, basically, life fell apart. Okay, utterly, spiritually and mentally ruined. Okay, I'm okay with living in a pod. All right. Here's the thing: the pod. I can live in that little cracker box village. All right, but this is what I need. One, the price of that 700 square foot box needs to be in the high 5 digits. Okay, that's all that's worth. And I'm being charitable in the high 5 digits. Okay, tops. Secondly, there has to be open, active discrimination, okay, about who can live there. It must only be other white people who do not have a criminal record, all right? If those are my neighbors living in a tight space like that, I could function that way. But the moment you let in the hordes of diversity, it will immediately turn into basically an open air prison, all right, with gang formation. I can't live like that.
No, man, that's not how it's going to go. I mean,
or make it a PvP map. Okay,
let's be fair.
I can handle that. Okay,
Mario, let's be fair. I mean, we're talking about Union City, where the crime rates are extraordinarily high in Union City. In fact, Union City is less safe than 70% of cities in America, and the cost of crime in Union City, is $512 per year per citizen. Cost of crime in Union City, with $6.9 million in justice-involved murder prosecution for the city. Okay, so it's safer than Hapeville, where the original Chick-fil-A happens to be. But I mean, you're looking at Union City right here. This is the area that we're talking about, right in the center of this map. It's a creative ghetto. So yeah, you can look at
waiting.
Communities is well over 1,000.
So no lie, these are lovely, attractive little apartments. I mean, they call them tiny homes. That branding is actually very clever and very effective. Fair play. They're attractive little edifices, but they're 400 square feet. Y'all, that's those are rooms in my house.
Yes, Cameron. Diverse areas are PvP maps. Agreed. Okay, and if I can, if we just go in, if I go into this community with that understanding and everyone understands that, then I think it can work out okay.
So, Mario, why did you not buy a home in Hawaii? Why didn't you buy a house when you were in Hawaii?
Well, in Hawaii, the cost is ludicrous. Okay, single family home, $500,000, and we're talking in 2010 money. Okay.
Yeah.
Like 2010, $500,000 for a single family home. Second, you don't actually own the land, all right? Because all the land in Hawaii is owned by what are called these tribal councils. Basically,
Yep.
the native Hawaiians, who in reality the native Hawaiians are like some chimera of like Filipinos, Japs, and like any kind of polywogs that washed ashore. Okay, there aren't really many native Hawaiians left, if at all. All right. They all died of diabetes. Now,
essentially what the law says is white people can't own land.
Yeah. If you're
you can't even be generations of Hawaiian white people.
The word is if you are not kama'aina. Okay, meaning
right.
If you are not born of the land, then you cannot.
Correct. If you're not kama'aina, you're a haole.
Yeah. Haole. That's right. It means.
Which means soulless white person. Well, it's the word for white person. It just means soulless one.
No, it means no breath. Okay?
It's breathless one, but it has the same meaning.
It's an unpersoning.
Yeah.
It's a pejorative. Okay, it's not a compliment. Because we speak nasally. Okay, and they speak. Look, man, this is only going to be a 30-minute show. We got to concentrate the races.
But you've seen the New Zealand Parliament guys doing the haka.
The haka.
And they do the hands out there.
Yeah, I thought it was like cute the first like couple times I saw that, but it's becoming increasingly apparent to me that the Maori people, that's literally all they got. Like their little dance. This is you will respect our dance. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
What else do you have?
They've got their haka dance and they've got their 400-pound Maoris. That's about now. Make no mistake, a giant Samoan, a giant Maori. Those are that's a big drop of hurt you.
No, I'm not. I don't mess with them. I'm not going to mess with those Samoans. Okay.
You've seen them big 400-pound Samoans hunt boar with a knife.
Yeah, they're a different subspecies. Okay, we'll put it that way.
Yeah, these are big boys. But yeah, so the place is called this place is called Techie Homes. Yeah, okay, so basically they're opening a new micro homes community, guys. I'll grant them the marketing is clever. They're marketing it to say they're marketing it to young professionals basically and saying, hey, this is close to work. But part of the marketing strategy is they're telling people the solution to the housing crisis, to housing costs and availability, is not to live out in the sprawling suburbs. It is to live on top of each other. And this goes hand in hand with the idea of the 15-minute cities, where everything is a 15-minute walk away from your doctor, your grocery store, everything, your job, all the entertainment that you're interested in, all the restaurants, cafes, your whole life will be lived in a 30-minute diameter from your front door. Right. That's go ahead.
Pit Denny says a group of Karens is called an HOA. Normally, I would agree. Okay, if you're in a neighborhood where, people have paid a sizable chunk of change, okay, to live there, then mostly they're going to be able to self-police. Okay, but in an area like in Pod Village, okay, for example, I would definitely want an HOA there. Okay, and here's why: because otherwise you're going to step outside. With diversity, this is what happens. You step outside, look across the quad, okay, and then you're going to see like empty beer cans all over the ground from Jose's nightly 30 rack of Modelo, okay. And no, I can't. We're not going to deal with that. All right. I want his ass fined constantly to prevent that type of behavior.
See, where I live, there's no diversity. There's so little diversity here, we don't even have white people. It's just fucking trees.
There's diversity of flora and fauna.
And barely. I mean, there's trees, there's chickens. every now and then we see an armadillo or a possum, and that's what the M4 is for, because there's nobody to do any home invasion nearby. Yeah, Pit Danny, land is the answer. You couldn't pay me to live in an HOA. Hell no.
Santa Steven says, I think I remember some research from the 70s. You stack a lot of people in close proximity and your deviant population goes through the roof. Yeah, they're called public housing projects. Okay. Yes. Yes.
And the result of the public housing projects, if the evidence of your own eyes by simply driving through one is not sufficient, then I highly recommend you go and read the white papers that were generated by the Rat Utopia experiments.
Wasn't like that nightmare example in the early 80s in Atlanta? It was like East Point Gardens or something, where literally like all the white people moved out virtually overnight, and then it turned into subsidized housing, and then it literally became a PvP battle zone. Okay.
Well, and then you have the inverse. You have the inverse, like around Cabbagetown in Atlanta, where they let it get bad. They let it get real bad, and then a bunch of politically connected developers and investors just asked very nicely for the police to go in, and they started busting up crack houses and meth labs in the area. Those guys all moved out, and then what happened? Instead of the renters,
at Adobe Photoshop, we know life is full of distractions.
Some advertisement just started playing. Instead of the renters all moving out, what happened is that broke my train of thought. Okay, instead of the renters all moving out, what happened is the landlords that owned the properties decided that they wanted to sell, and I mean they wanted to get the hell out because they suddenly had the liability for all the drug dealers that were renting their houses. A lot of them just picked up and left, and the houses got foreclosed, went to auction, and a bunch of rich investors came in, bought them for pennies on the dollar. You know, I ran titles on some of these houses back in like 2001, and we were seeing things where somebody bought the house for $50,000, and 3 years later was flipping it for $500,000. Oh yeah, and it was a bunch of them in like a 5-block radius. It was obviously crooked as shit. And packing people in like cordwood is exactly the kind of human livestock conditions that are going to get you that kind of corruption.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you just look at the extreme example would be like the Mouse Utopia experiment conducted in Baltimore, right?
Yep.
Where basically the same thing.
And I think the most interesting thing we learned from the Mouse Utopia experiment. So the Mouse Utopia experiment, guys, they took a bunch of mice and they put them in a controlled environment and steadily increased population until it hit a critical mass, and the mice started exhibiting certain behaviors. And
the key thing is the mice never wanted for anything. Like they had all
correct
food, water,
unlimited resources.
That's right.
Correct. Unlimited resources, unlimited food, etc. And once the population hit a certain point, you started having mice that exhibited homosexuality. You started having mice that basically ran in what amounted to street gangs. Yep. And they would run around and terrorize the other mice. Then you had the beautiful ones who would literally look for a reflection and just admire themselves in the reflection all day. Not unlike your, basically every kind of bad social behavior you can imagine the mice began to exhibit when they hit that critical mass.
And the female mice, their investment and their broods became nil. Basically, shit them out, and whoever survived. Yeah.
Right. There was no more maternal instinct left. Like the maternal instinct was crushed by the population, by the drive of population control. Well, then the really terrifying revelation from that is they would take these bad actor mice out of the rat utopia haven and put them into other rat habitats with rats who had not gone through the utopia experiment and taken on those less desirable social traits. And what they discovered is that the rats from the utopia, they would not self-correct and adapt and what's the word I'm looking for? Integrate with the create normalized society. Instead, they would spread their behavior. They would create the conditions.
They would not shed the pathology that they took on in the utopia. Okay, they spread the wealth. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. They would spread the pathology. It turned out that the pathology was indeed a social contagion.
Yep, and it resulted in cannibalism and suicide and total population crash.
Yep.
I'm glad I thought of that. That fits perfectly into the pod scenario. Yeah. Anyway, I'm okay with the pod. Okay, I'll live there. But like I said, under 6 figures, and I want controlled access.
Yeah. Nope. You will have to pry my land from my cold, dead hands. It really is that simple. So
Larry doesn't have to eat. Larry doesn't have to eat the bugs, because the chickens will eat the bugs for him.
Exactly.
And then he can eat the chicken.
Yes, I have these wonderful little meat footballs. They eat the bugs and they shit out bonus food in convenient little packets. And, dude, we've been growing. Okay. Little anecdote, and then I'll wrap it up and we call it a day. So we got the vegetable patch, we got the garden going pretty good. Our run of beans have pretty much run their course, and we've got to pull them out and plant new beans. But we had feed planted these beans that when they're ready, they're purple, and when you cook them, they turn green when they're done cooking. Yeah, color changing vegetables. You talk about the kids just being as happy as they can be, and they eat the vegetables.
Are they like GMO beans?
No.
What is that?
I forget what they're called. They're like purple pole beans or something. No, it's not a GMO thing. In fact, my wife is a bit of a hippie. She has been very on the P's and Q's about none of the GMO shit. Just grow what we can grow.
That's good.
So, yeah. All right. That is where I'm going to leave you guys this morning, because like I said, I got to get on down the road. So we appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching this morning. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow.
Ciao.
I could probably have gone a few more minutes, but I'm pushing.
Wasn't there a 90s band named Pod? P-O-D or something?
Oh yeah, Payable on Death. It was a religious Christian band.
Okay.
Christian alternative rock.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yep.